lighting incense. I do that sometimes when I need something to help me relax and calm the fuck down. After this episode of Raw, I needed something to do just that. This episode of Raw was dog shit, as it always is. But this one especially bad. I'm gonna just try to blow through this shit as quickly as I possibly can, because I'm tired of wasting my time on this shit. Nobody even watches this fucking show on my channel anymore, so why am I even doing it? Three goddamn pages. And honestly, that was it for the third page. Because they couldn't just wrap it up quickly enough for me to only have to waste 2 pieces of paper on this garbage. No, they had to make me waste a third page. July 11th, 2016, from Detroit, Michigan's Joe Louis Arena. Show starts off with the intro video and pyro, and there's already a bunch of jabronis in the fucking ring. We're having a battle royal for the #1 contendership to the Miz's Intercontinental title. And the Miz is on commentary along with Maurice. Like I said, there's already a bunch of guys in the ring. Out comes Apollo Crews to no fucking reaction. Miz jumps up on the commentary table and he talks, wishing everybody good luck, saying it won't really matter who's going to win because you're not going to beat me, whatever the fuck. The Battle Royal starts. And this was a colossal waste of fucking time. While the fucking match is going on, I notice Bob Backlund is standing on the outside of the ring. Darren Young is in this fucking match. His first fucking actual appearance on the show since the last time he fucking teamed with Titus O'Neil. There was a commercial break. JBL made a completely racist statement, calling Apollo Crews by Titus O'Neil's name, even though Titus wasn't even in the fucking match. He corrected himself later, but it still made him sound like a fucking racist who thinks all black people look alike. Jerk off. And my only real note, Darren Young wins the fucking Battle Royal without even doing anything. Piece of shit was down sucking wind in the corner while, I think it was not Rusev. Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin. Let's see. Trying to remember what exactly happened. One of them was on the apron. No. Crews went to rush Corbin, who was on the ropes. And Corbin, hip checks him over the top rope. But as he's going over the rope, Crews grabs Corbin under the arm and pulls him out too. So both of them spill out of the ring, and they were the last two in the ring besides Young. So those two eliminate each other. Young wins by default because he's the only one left in the fucking ring. Darren Young won this match without doing anything. He didn't eliminate a single fucking person. He basically got his ass kicked the whole match. He did nothing to win this fucking match. And for some fucking reason, He's got new music, by the way, and it sucks. It sounded like shit. I happened to notice a -5 stars sign in the crowd, which was perfect for this match. And for some idiotic reason, the fucking crowd starts chanting for Darren Young when he wins. And I'm like, why? These fucking vignettes he's been having with Backlund have been goddamn atrocious. And this guy himself sucks ass from a straw. He's a crap wrestler. He's shit at promos. He's got no fucking charisma. And these damn video packages suck. He's done fuck all his entire time in the WWE. And now all of a sudden the people cheer for him? He didn't even do anything to win the match. What the fuck are you cheering for? After that abomination, they hype up the fact that Vince McMahon returns tonight. He's got an announcement to make. And his kids, Stephanie and Shane, are here as well. And they're going to have something to do with it. They also hype up this segment called Brock Rules the Octagon. Since Brock just had his big fight at UFC 200, and he actually won, like a bitch, winning by a decision. He didn't even knock out his opponent or get him to tap out. He won by a bitch decision. I'm sorry, winning by decision shouldn't even be an option in the UFC. You win by knockout or submission. That's it. They hype up this bullshit segment. Who gives a fuck? That's going to be next. They also hype up the Wyatts had challenged the New Day guys to show up to the Wyatts compound. And apparently this happened already. So they're going to show us the footage of it. They hype that up. That's going to be later on. And they finally cut to a commercial break. And when we come back from the break, Stephanie and Shane are in the office talking. Who cares? Up comes Seth Rollins, bitching his usual garbage. I think Shane mentions something about an Ambrose Asylum segment, and Rollins is like, nuh-uh, I want my own talk show segment. And he talks about these other talk show hosts, and specifically Jon Stewart. Rollins wants his own talk show, The Rollins Report. And Stephanie's like, yeah, that sounds great. You got it. Moving on. They show the stupid segment about Brock. Who gives a fuck? And that segues into Brock's opponent for SummerSlam, Randy Orton, who is going to be on Chris Jericho's highlight reel at the Battleground pay-per-view. Who gives a shit about that? If Orton doesn't just fucking RKO Chris Jericho and then leave, it's going to be a waste of time. Anyways, we cut backstage. There's Zack Ryder, who comes up to Rusev. They had a run-in on SmackDown. Who cares? Ryder's talking a big game, you know. You said that if I wanted a shot at your US title, then I need to challenge you face-to-face. Well, I'm challenging you face-to-face. Rusev just kind of scoffs it off, and then all of a sudden, Ryder gets decked from behind by Sheamus. I'm like, what the fuck does Sheamus have to do with this? And Sheamus starts talking smack to Ryder. You know, you can't really worry about Rusev right now because you got a match with me and it's next. And they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, Sheamus's punk ass is already in the ring, finishing his entrance. And then Ryder comes out. He's got different music now. And I say different and not new because this music has been around for quite some time. It's been known as an unused theme for a couple of years now. Apparently, the same band who has done both different versions of Dolph Ziggler's theme, the band known as Downstate, they also recorded a version of Zack Ryder's shitty-ass music. And I actually like the band. I like Ziggler's music. These guys really should have not bothered, because this song still sucks. It doesn't matter what band does it, the song itself is garbage. Terrible lyrics, just terrible music. It doesn't matter what band you have do it, it's going to sound lousy no matter what. But Ryder's using this now. It's slightly better than his original theme, because his original theme was god-awful trash. So it's not really hard to beat that. But this new version still doesn't sound that good. And it's not really, like I said, it's not really an insult to the band. No band on earth could make this song better. It's just a bad song. It's like if somebody covered a bad Miley Cyrus song. Doesn't matter who you have cover it, it still sucks, because it's just a bad song. Bad lyrics, bad writing, bad music. You can't save it no matter what band you do. No matter how much musical talent you might have, you can't save a bad song. Anyways, so Ryder comes out, and while Ryder's coming out, commentators, oh hey, we've got Spanish commentators. Don't know why they even brought it up, because it never comes up again. Nobody goes through any of the announce tables, so they might as well not bother with these fucking Spanish announce teams anymore. Nobody cares. The match between these two jabronis starts, and the match is pretty fucking lol because, let's see, Sheamus gets knocked to the outside, and the crowd starts chanting, "You look stupid" at him. So that's funny. And what was even more funny was when Ryder thought he was about to win, he turns around and eats a brogue kick that loosened his fucking teeth. Sheamus gets the cover, 1, 2, 3. Sheamus gets the win, and I started dying laughing because I'm just like, yes, you punk bitch Ryder, yes. Soon as Sheamus gets the win, Rusev's music starts playing, and out he comes with Lana. He starts beating the crap out of Ryder. I think Ryder tried to fight back, but, I mean, he just had his teeth loosened by Sheamus with the brogue kick. Rusev just completely squashed any resistance Ryder had. He knocks Ryder on his fucking face. He puts him in the fucking camel clutch and leans all the goddamn way back. He fucks him in the ass. He breaks his back and makes him fucking humble. And while he's doing it, he's screaming, "I accept your challenge, Ryder! I accept your challenge!" So he's basically making Ryder his bitch while telling him he's going to make him his bitch again whenever the match happens, probably the pay-per-view. Who gives a shit? Moving on. We get hype for Enzo and Cass versus Gallows and Anderson of the Club. Commercial break. Coming back from the break, Breezango comes out. And they show a video thing from earlier. Breezango talking to the Lucha Dragons, insulting them, whatever the fuck. The Lucha Dragons did something to him in the video, it doesn't matter. So yeah, that's what brought on this match. Out come the Lucha Dragons to a pop. And we get the match between these two teams. And the match was okay, even though there was a botch. Let's see what happened. Oh yeah, Kalisto went to springboard off the ropes, his nice, springboard offense. He went to springboard, his foot slipped on the middle rope and went straight through, and he fell on his ass. It's okay, they just repeated the spot, and he got it right. There was an interesting sequence that led to the finish. I can't remember exactly what happened. The match ends when Breeze and Kalisto, I think it was, were up on the top going for like a superplex or something. Well, I think what it was is Kalisto was going for like a super Hurricane Rana off the top rope. Breeze slides down through his legs, and then for some reason he goes and he super kicks into the corner, and I'm like, you super kick him in the ass? No, apparently his foot went up between his legs and hit him in the face, because Kalisto was still bent over. So his foot came up and hit Kalisto in the face. And then he grabs him and like avalanche bombs him off the top rope into like a small, like a schoolboy roll up. 1, 2, 3. Breezango gets the win. And Sin Cara had been wiped out on the outside. I think he made a dive on top of Johnny to keep him from interfering because he thought Kalisto had it wrapped up. Anyways, Breezango gets the win. The match was okay. We get hype for this Rollins report, which is going to be next, and they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, Rollins' shitty music hits, and he comes out still to a fucking pop. Get over it, people. He's a heel, and he sucks as a heel. He starts talking about Roman. And he says, here's my Rollins report. It's a video that he has play on the fucking Titantron. And all this amounts to is a horrible, laughable, stupid, obviously spliced together footage from different interviews that Roman has done for the WWE. And I'm talking actual WWE interviews. Rollins took footage from these different interviews to splice together his answers. The video also features footage of Rollins in a chair, in a suit, asking Roman these questions. And it's basically just making fun of Roman, making him look like an asshole. Shit like that. Like, Rollins asked, like, do you feel any remorse for what you did? You embarrassed yourself and everything, and the spliced footage of Roman is like, I don't feel bad about anything. He's like, I don't care. It is what it is. Like I said, it was painfully, obviously spliced together footage. And I mean, it's not even like it was done well. The background in Rollins' shots was completely different from the background in Roman's shots. It's like it wasn't even close. I mean, yeah, he's a heel, so obviously this is what he would do. But this was terrible. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. Seth comes back. He's still talking in the ring. And then out comes Ambrose to a pop. He made a joke. Oh, yeah. He made fun of Rollins saying, hey, you finally took the stick out of your ass and decided to have some fun. You know, like he's having fun with the video. Because I'm like, yeah, obviously he's just having fun because that's obviously completely faked, spliced together footage. Seth talks and runs his fucking mouth. Oh yeah, and then Ambrose roasts a bunch of people, saying that he's been busting his ass since he came to the WWE. He hasn't been taking time off or disappearing or going and fighting someplace else or, you know, just making an ass out of himself. And he's referencing Roman with the making an ass out of himself, mentioning Brock as the guy who leaves and goes and fights somewhere else. He's basically roasting all these other big names. He doesn't actually name them by name, of course, but I knew who he was talking about, because it was pretty fucking obvious. But he burns all these motherfuckers. And it was great. The crowd starts chanting, you deserve it, the whole title thing, because that's... all of Seth's argument is like, you stole that from me. You used that money in the bank and you snuck up from behind like a thief in the night and you stole that from me. And I'm like, motherfucker, You snuck up out of nowhere like a thief in the night with your money in the bank and cashed in on Roman and Brock Lesnar. The only difference is you did it in the middle of a match, whereas Ambrose waited until your match with Roman was already over. You have no moral high ground to stand on in this argument, Seth. Period. The Money in the Bank is inherently a horrible heel tactic, and it's a shitty, fucking underlined shitty fucking plot device that the terrible writers that work for the WWE use to throw somebody into the main event who may or may not be ready. It's a crutch, and it sucks. And it's inherently terrible no matter who uses it. It was terrible when Edge used it the first 2 times because he sucked and he never fucking deserved to be world champion. It sucked when everybody else used the goddamn thing. It was a crutch. It's always been a crutch, and the Money in the Bank needs to go the fuck away. Because if you can't build these people up and put them into the main event properly, you shouldn't be doing it at all. It's a crutch. And again, Rollins, you've got no moral high ground to stand on, because you did the same fucking thing. Even though you cashed in mid-match, you still waited until Roman and Brock had blown each other up, beating the shit out of each other. You waited until the 2 of them were gassed. You got no moral high ground to stand on. Eat shit, you scrawny, pathetic fuck. After that, Ambrose destroys Rollins on the mic, proving that he has more charisma and mic skills than Rollins will ever have. I don't remember what he said. It doesn't matter, but he destroyed him. He went off on a fucking rant, you know. It was just great. And he ends by saying, you know what, Seth? You want your fucking one-on-one match with me? You want a shot at this title? Fine. Let's go. He throws the belt down. He throws his mic down. He's like, come on, bitch. Let's do this. I'll fight you right now. And, of course, like a chicken shit, Rollins backs off. He's like, nah, not now. I ain't ready. Despite the fact he came out dressed in his full ring gear. And Ambrose was basically wearing his ring gear too because he wrestles in his street clothes, basically. Ambrose was actually wearing his leather jacket this time, which was cool. But yeah, Seth's like, nah, not now. We can do this on my time, next week. And he fucks off. And that's the end of the segment. We get more hype for Vince. We get more hype for Enzo and Cass versus the Club. We also get more hype for the New Day and the Wyatts fight, and they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, out comes Sami Zayn to a pop. While he's coming out, we get a recap from SmackDown. Owens was on commentary. Sammy was going against Chris Jericho, and during the match, Sammy went out and tried to confront Owens, and Owens threw a drink in his face. And even though Sammy won the match, he ate a codebreaker from Jericho afterwards, and a pop-up powerbomb, I think, from Owens. So, yeah, Zayn's out for Retribution. He's on SmackDown. Or no, he's on commentary, is what I meant. He's on commentary because Owens has a match against Cesaro. Well, they hit Owens' music. He's not coming out. And the music plays, and it plays, and it plays, and he's not coming out. Finally, the music stops, and we cut backstage. There's Owens talking with a bunch of referees saying, I'm not going out there until you get rid of Sammy. I don't want him out there during my match. It's not a safe work environment. This makes you look like a pussy, Kevin. You never would have done this shit in Ring of Honor. You are a pussy now. Owens is refusing to come out until Sammy is taken off commentary. Up comes Stephanie and says, fine, he's removed from commentary. And she sends the referees out to go get Sammy and take him away. We cut back to commentary. Sammy's like, no, I had this authorized by Shane. You know, he said I could be down here. And he's like, I don't want to leave. The referees come down, and they escort him away. And while he's still going up the fucking ramp, Owens' music hits again. And out he comes from the curtain, and I'm like, you fucking idiot! You wanted him gone, you don't come out while he's still leaving. You wait until he's gone, then you come out. Because inevitably, what happens? They come face to face, they start fucking fighting, and the referees have to pull them apart. What jackass wrote this shit? You make Owens look like a pussy, and then you have him fight anyways. And of course, after the fight, Owens rushes down to the ring, and he's like, come on, come and fight me, bruh. This show sucks. I hate it so much. Anyways, after that, before Cesaro can come out, because we're still going to have this match, before Cesaro can come out, we cut backstage to the garage area, the loading bay area of the fucking arena. A limo has just showed up. And out steps Vince from the back. He's here. Renee Young runs up to him. And she's like, Vince, what are you doing here? Yada, yada, yada. And Vince basically says, I'm here to announce the COO, or the commissioner, of SmackDown for when it goes live next week for SmackDown Live. He actually referred to it as commissioner, which is stupid because they just got done announcing it as the COO. We cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, Cesaro finally comes out to a small pop. And we finally get this match between these two. It was probably the only good fucking match of the night. There was a commercial break in the middle of the match. And the match ends in the strangest fucking situation when, let's see, what was happening? I believe Cesaro was going for a superplex on Owens. They were on the top rope. Well, again, I believe Owens slipped through his legs, Cesaro's, and landed on the thing, and then pushed Cesaro so that he crotched himself on the top turnbuckle rung thing. So he gets crotched, racked up real good. Owens grabs him up and off like he's going to drop him on his head with a burning hammer. And I'm like, Kevin, you might want to be fucking careful about that move, because that kind of got Tyler Rex fired, basically. For those of you who don't know the story, Tyler Rex, you remember him, the surfer dude from a while back, used to tag with Kurt Hawkins. Tyler Rex started using the Burning Hammer as his finishing move. If you don't know what the Burning Hammer is, you probably don't watch Japanese wrestling. The Burning Hammer is John Cena's attitude adjustment, only upside down, and it actually looks like it would fucking hurt. It's an inverted fireman's carry, meaning they're facing up. You get them, and then you drop them on the back of their fucking head and neck. It's an inverted Death Valley driver, basically. Tyler Rex started using this move, and he was confronted backstage by Cena, who basically told him, you have to stop using that move, because it makes my move look like shit. And I think Rex may have told him to go fuck himself. And that didn't do Rex no favors, because at the time Cena was Golden Child, and yeah. But no. Owens doesn't actually do the burning hammer. He's got him positioned for it, but then he spins it into a neck breaker. So it's basically an inverted TKO, which the TKO was a move that Mark Marrow used to use. It was a regular fireman's carry spun into like a diamond cutter. So Owens basically does the inverted version of that, spinning rack neck breaker. Excuse me. He hit the reason why I'm making such a big deal out of it is because he gets the win with this move. He hits this on Cesaro, covers him 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, where the fuck was the pop-up powerbomb? Where the fuck? Is Owens maybe taking my advice and getting a new finishing move? Because, like, he went for the pop-up powerbomb, and Cesaro just kind of jumped over him and landed on his feet. So I'm like, maybe Owens is going further into his bag of moves to actually pull out something different. But I'm like, why did he just end a match with that? Like, it's cool that you can do that, but it's not your finisher. Then again, it's probably better that they do it this way because matches don't fucking have to end with finishers, everybody. Anyways. So Owens wins with this burning hammer spun into a neck breaker. He runs over to the commentary table where Byron Saxton was saying something. He grabs the headset off of Saxton's head and puts it on, and he starts talking smack. This is what I'm going to do to fucking Sami Zayn. Speak of the devil, Sami comes flying in from, like, the crowd. He's over there by the timekeeper area. He comes flying in and dives on Owens and starts beating the crap out of him. And Sami fights Owens and throws Owens back into the ring. And Owens gets up and he's looking at Sami. He's like, you motherfucker. And Sami's like, woo! Doing that. And I'm like, Owens turns around, gets double-legged, and Cesaro starts swinging him around and around and around. Again, Owens looks like a chump with this shit happening to him. It's not that I hate Sami or Cesaro, but they're making Owens look like a fucking chump here. That's the end of that segment. Moving on. We get a recap of the segment from last week, where Cena was getting his ass beat by the Club, only to be saved by Enzo and Cass. We cut backstage, there's the 3 members of the Club, and up comes Renee Young. She asks, whatever the fuck, and the 3 members of the Club talk about Cena. We're gonna beat him up some more, we're gonna beat up Enzo and Cass. And I'm thinking, like, why in the fuck? Like, and this is going to come up again because there's a big promo before the match. But I'm like, why in the fuck don't the Club just explain in plain English to Enzo and Cass? Look, we got nothing against you guys. We don't hate you. We're not going to come after you. We got nothing against you. Or we had nothing against you until you decided to stick your noses where they didn't belong in our business. We were just going to beat the shit out of Cena. You two weren't even a blip on our radar, for fuck's sake. We got nothing against you. So, how about you guys go do your thing in the tag division? You can go after the tag belts because you kind of got unfinished business there anyways. Oh yeah, the New Day are kind of busy with the Wyatts. So I guess Enzo and Cass needed something to keep them occupied. This ain't the best thing for them. Because teaming them up with Cena is basically a death sentence. Whatever. Moving on, they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, the three remaining members of the Social Retards, Curtis Axel, Bo Dallas, and fucking Heath Slater come out. To no reaction. No one gives a fuck about these three anymore. And it's terrible. I believe it's while they're coming out, we get the picture-in-a-picture promo of the three of them cutting a promo on Titus O'Neil. And one of them mentions he disappointed everybody on Father's Day, and he disappointed his country on the 4th of July, losing and shit. And Bo Dallas, of all people, mentions that today is National Blueberry Muffin Day. There's a lot of derpy fucking holidays, aren't there? Pretty much all of them. He mentions that, and somebody else says he's going to disappoint a lot of bakers today then. And the three of them bust out laughing, like uproariously laughing, and then it got awkward really quick. They're just laughing. It's like, if you ever seen the Austin Powers movies, all those times when Dr. Evil starts laughing and all his people around him, they start laughing, and he's like, just kind of winds down, and it just gets really awkward. That's what this was, and I'm just like, the fuck? Anyways, Titus comes out to hardly any fucking reaction. It's Heath Slater versus Titus. The match was crap. My only notes was, I actually want Slater to win. I don't like Titus O'Neil. I think he's a club-footed, slap-happy piece of shit hoss. He looked like he was stiffing the crap out of Slater in this match, chucking him around like a rag doll in ways that looks like if Slater had landed differently, he could have ended up hurt really badly. So Titus is just not safe, and he's a fucking hoss with no talent and no fucking charisma. But no, Titus hits the fucking Clash of the Titus, and he gets the win. Small pop. Because again, people don't really give a shit about this guy. We cut backstage to the interview area. There's Renee Young again. She's with Sasha Banks. Sasha cuts a fucking promo on Dana Brooke, who she has a match with later on. Whoop-de-doo. Ariana Grande syndrome. Moving on. More hype for the New Day Wyatt's fight at the Wyatt's compound. That's going to be next. And they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, they announce that on SmackDown this week, The Miz is hosting his god-fucking-stupid goddamn Miz TV segment again with his opponent for the Intercontinental title, Darren Young and Bob Backlund. This just sounds like awful written all over it. Oh, did I happen to mention that during Miz's promo before the Battle Royal, he happened to finally go back to his shtick of saying, "I'm the Miz, and I'm awesome." He even mentioned that on commentary. He says, "It's been like years since I've said that." I'm like, yeah, it was refreshing. It's a lot better than watching you make out with your fucking Playboy model wife. Anyways, so after the announcement of the fucking Miz TV on SmackDown, the crap commentators segue into a recap from last week, the whole thing between the New Day and the Wyatts, the little promo segment that happened. And that's just a segue to cut to this footage of the fight that happened between the New Day and the Wyatts at the Wyatts compound. This shit looked like it was a fucking low-budget horror movie. Like The Hills Have Eyes or some shit. It was all grainy, the footage, and the fucking New Day guys show up in this pickup truck, I believe. They park it in the middle of this field. Empty fucking field. And they get out, and they're in, like, street clothes. And they're standing there for a minute. And then all of a sudden, lights. It's completely dark, but all these lights start lighting up. They're headlights from other cars that have, like, surrounded half of this field. And then, from behind them, they see another set of lights light up and comes charging. This car, driven by Bray, tries to run the fucking Wyatts over. Or not the Wyatts, the New Day guys. Fortunately, all three of them dive out of the way, but the car crashes into the side of the truck. Bray and Rowan and Strowman get out of the car, and Bray just kind of sits on the hood, and he's like, you know, just kind of taunting them. Fight breaks out between the 6 of these motherfuckers. And, like I said, this looked like a low-rent, low-budget fucking horror movie. You know, they're fighting all around this field. You know, there's trees. And the Wyatts bust out these weapons. One of them had a pickaxe, and the other one had this big, long... It looked like a pipe, but it had like a big knobby thing on the end. And the fucking New Day guys are jumping off of these cars, doing like flying top rope diving moves, like hitting them with trash can lids or whatever the fuck. This was some of the weirdest goddamn shit they have shown in a long time. I'll give them bonus points for doing something that they haven't done in a long time. It was different, but it was so fucking weird. And finally, the New Day guys, because it was like everybody was all over the place. You know, finally, the New Day guys all come together, and they've got Bray, like, cornered. Not really, because it's an open field. Bray is down on his knees, and the New Day guys are staring a hole at him. And Bray's looking at him, and he just starts laughing, because he's psychotic. Rowan and Strowman come back up, and Strowman had like ripped off his shirt, so his whole big giant barrel chest, he looked roided out for fucking all belief. And there was like a mud puddle that they were fighting in, and I think one of them was like trying to drown one of the New Day guys in it. But anyways, so the 3 New Day guys have Bray down on his knees, and Bray just starts laughing. Rowan and Strowman come from the cars, and they come up next to Bray, and I think they had weapons. And they're just kind of staring a hole in the New Day guys. When all of a sudden, more little lights start popping up all around the thing. And the camera, because like I said, it's this really weirdly shot. And the camera looks over, it's more people, like the Fireflies, whatever the fuck they're called. More people wearing the sheep masks, holding up the lanterns. And Bray just says, "Follow the buzzards." And it cuts away. They do the cutaway gag again. And I'm like, what the fuck? Nothing happened. There was no definitive winner in the fight. The New Day guys didn't run away, I don't think. We cut back to the arena, and the crowd is chanting, "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks." So the crowd must have been just as bored as I was with this shit. Anyways, moving on, AJ Styles' music hits. And he comes out flanked by Gallows and Anderson. It's time for their match. And I'm like, it's supposed to be Gallows and Anderson. Why are they coming out to AJ's music? I actually like Gallows and Anderson's music. Whatever. The 3 of them come out and they get in the ring. Then Enzo and they came out to a pop. Enzo and Cass's music hits and they come out to a pop. And Enzo goes through his fucking spiel. My name is Enzo Amore, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. He's doing like Captain Ginyu poses. And fucking Ginyu Force and shit. And this right here, this is Big Cass. And he's 6'9" tall. And you can't teach that. Cass starts talking. And I'm like, seriously, big dude, shut the fuck up. You're not as good at it as Enzo is. But Cass says something to the effect of, we kind of figured, he says, everybody's gunning for John Cena's spot. I'm gunning for John Cena's spot. Enzo is gunning for John Cena's spot. But if we're going to take it, we're going to earn it. And I'm like, and what point are you trying to make? Because, beating the crap out of John Cena is kind of a good way to fucking earn his spot. You beat the crap out of him until he can't go no more. And then he has to retire. And then you take his spot. But he's like, we kind of figured that you guys, after you're done with Cena, you were going to come after us. And I'm thinking, what gave you that idea? Because the club never announced any intentions to go after Enzo and Cass. Once again, you guys stuck your noses in business that didn't concern you. Had you just left things left well enough alone, you probably would be a lot better off. AJ finally starts talking. And basically, I think what AJ was trying to say is, we don't really got anything against you guys, so why don't you guys just back off and we'll leave you alone. We're giving you a way out here. And Enzo's like, we don't need a way out. We ain't going anywhere except for into that ring to fight you. And Cass ends it with an SAWFT soft, and they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break... Oh, another thing that AJ had said in his promo earlier when they were backstage with Renee, they had mentioned that Cena wasn't there tonight because he was supposed to be in Los Angeles doing rehearsals because Cena is hosting the ESPYs, the ESPN Awards. Or at least I think that's what it is. But Cena's supposed to be hosting the ESPYs. So anyways, we get this match between the two teams, and AJ's on the outside. And the crowd doesn't even seem to give a fuck about the match. They're doing a dueling chant for AJ. AJ Styles, AJ sucks. And after that, they started doing a dueling chant for Cena. We want Cena, no we don't. Anyways, back in the ring, Enzo and Cass managed to hit the rocket launcher. And I think AJ had jumped up on the apron to distract Cass, who went to give him a big boot, but AJ dips the rope so Cass falls out of the ring. Enzo went for the cover on, I think it was Anderson who took the rocket launcher. Gallows jumps in to break up the pin. So there was no 3 count. I'm guessing AJ got interfered and he got involved in the match even more, which caused the referee to throw the match out. So I don't know. I'm guessing Enzo and Cass won by DQ. I don't know. What ends up happening is Cass got cleared out of the ring somehow. And AJ Gallows and Anderson had surrounded Enzo in the ring. And they're getting ready to beat the crap out of him. And then fuckboy Buckethead goddamn John Cena's music hits. And I'm thinking, okay, well, he's not coming out because he's not here. He fucking is here. He runs down to the goddamn ring. And the brawl is on. Cass gets back in the ring. And again, they clear out the club, making the club look like shit. And then there's this big chant for Cena. And I'm guessing that there was no dueling chant because the people who were against Cena were just like completely defeated. They're just like, fuck this company. End of that segment, moving on. We get more hype for Vince and more hype for Sasha versus Dana, which is next, and we cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, Charlotte's music hits. And I'm like, okay, Charlotte's going to lead the way with Dana, because Dana's her little bitch. Dana comes out first, and she's doing her little posing, like a low-rent version of Caitlyn. And then up comes Charlotte from behind her, and I'm like, so if Dana was going to come out first, why the fuck didn't she come out to her own goddamn music? I actually like her music a hell of a lot more than I like Charlotte's shitty fucking music. Anyways, while they're coming out, we get a recap from last week. Sasha came out and confronted Charlotte and Dana, and she beat the crap out of Dana, locked Charlotte in the fucking bank statement, only to be saved by Dana. Charlotte was saved. And of course, then Sasha comes out to a pop, and we get the match between these two, and it turned out to be crap. It really was. My notes. There was a commercial break. Botchy, sloppy, I don't give a shit. Dana is a low-rent Caitlyn, and Sasha is a poor man's AJ Lee. Sloppy bank statement equals win. The bank statement. She locked Dana in the bank statement. Dana had tried to crawl to the ropes, but Sasha kicked off of the ropes to flip her over to roll her back in towards the middle of the ring. And so Dana had to tap out. Crowd pops. Charlotte has a microphone. She runs her mouth, basically challenging Sasha to a rematch against Dana for SmackDown. So basically what this means is we're going to have to watch this same fucking match again on SmackDown. Basically her whole point was, you got lucky, let's see if you can do it again. Because, you know, anybody can win one match. Let's see if you can do it again. Whatever. We cut backstage and there's Vince. He's getting ready to come out. That's going to be next, and they cut to a commercial break. And coming back from the break, they announced that for next week on Raw, we're going to get the match that we wanted to see earlier. Ambrose defending the title against Rollins. That will happen next week on Raw. And they're basically saying that Ambrose may not go into Battleground as champion, since he's putting the title on the line. Anyways, cutting back to the arena, Shane's music hits, and out he comes to a pop. And then Stephanie's music hits, and she comes out, at first to a small round of boos, and then the boos just go silent. And then Vince comes out, and for some god-awful reason, these people still popped for him. Vince gets in the ring, and he starts talking. Basically saying, I'm disappointed in the two of you. I wanted to see you at each other's throats. I wanted to see one of you slit the other one's throat. And I'm like, this is kind of graphic imagery here, Vince. You might want to tone it down for the kiddies. And Vince even roasts Stephanie mocking her acting nice. He's like, what the hell is this garbage? You acting nice. Who the hell are you? Vince wanted them to fight each other, and he says, I want the two of you to give me a case for why I should make you the commissioner of SmackDown Live. Stephanie goes first, and she makes the worst goddamn argument in history by saying that Shane's just manipulative and all these other things, and I'm like, you just talked up Shane by making him sound exactly like Vince. Manipulative and shrewd and cunning and evil and things like that. Called him a wolf in sheep's clothing, and I'm like, that's Vince! You couldn't have done a worse job of hyping yourself up because you just made Shane look really good in Vince's eyes. How stupid can you be, Stephanie? Shane talks, and he's saying, you know, I should run SmackDown because I came in talking about change. I want to change things. I want to make the company better. I want to make the show better. I want to change things, make it, you know, all these things, yada, yada, yada. And Vince is like, all right, I've heard enough. Let's have a drum roll here. Vince announces the commissioner of SmackDown is going to be Shane. Shane's jumping, he's like, yeah, he's up on the turnbuckle, he's like, yeah, and Vince is like, hold on a minute here. And for a second there, I was thinking, is he going to change his mind and be like, nah. No. Instead, he says, you're going to be the commissioner of SmackDown, but that means that you are removed of your duties on Raw. And so, sole commissioner of Raw, Stephanie. And Stephanie even starts doing the yes, and I'm like, you fucking bitch. Not to mention the fact, her tits are so big, every time she does this, they bounce up like they're gonna pop out of her fucking shirt. I'm sure everybody would love that, but I'm like, bitch, you don't need any more nipple slips. Even Vince was like, calm down, you don't want to fuck up again. Yeah. So, Shane's going to be running SmackDown. Stephanie's going to be running Raw, which means Raw is going to be unwatchable. Vince says he wants them to compete against each other as viciously as they can. I think he did. He said, I don't even care if you break the law, just as long as you don't get caught. But then Vince is also like, you guys, I named you as commissioners of Raw and SmackDown, but you need somebody to do the day-to-day operations of your respective shows. You need a general manager. So next week, you two have to announce general managers for your respective shows. And if you can't come up with one, I'll come up with one for you. This is all what Vince is saying. Vince leaves, and that leaves Stephanie and Shane in the ring alone with each other. And Stephanie turns evil real fucking quick, ranting on Shane, saying, I have had to work twice as hard to get half the respect all my life, this and that. This whole feminism garbage that she keeps going on and on about. Ranting this and that. I've always hated you, Shane. She finally gets done, and Shane looks at her and says, I've seen this from you before, this venom. It's always happened when you're scared of something. You're scared of me, and you know it, and these people know it. We're gonna compete, and I'm gonna kick your ass. And she says, Shane says, it's time to play the game, or something to that effect. And Stephanie says, there's only one game, and I'm married to him. And then she slaps Shane in the face. And she putting her chin up, you know. Of course, Shane's not going to hit his sister. He's a bigger man than that. He kisses her on the cheek instead. And Stephanie fucking leaves. Leaving Shane in the ring by himself. Shane thanks the crowd one more time, and that's the end of the show. Once again, as usual, I'm just going to run through the matches one more time just to get this shit over with. We started off with a big battle royal for the number one contendership to the Intercontinental title, which was won by Darren fucking Young, of all people. Sheamus jobs out Zack Ryder in the lulziest fucking match. It was great. Breezango defeats the Lucha Dragons in an okay match. Kevin Owens defeats Cesaro in a good match, probably the best match of the night. Kind of head-scratching the finish, though. But whatever. Titus O'Neil jobs out Heath Slater. Crappy match. Gallows and Anderson versus Enzo and Cass, I guess went to a no contest. Either that or Enzo and Cass won by DQ after AJ's interference. Who the fuck knows or cares? The crowd didn't seem to care. They were chanting for AJ. They were chanting for Cena. And then we had one of the botchiest, sloppiest fucking matches between Dana Brooke and Sasha Banks. Dana does not seem like she's ready for prime time yet. I think she needs to go back to NXT. She was really sloppy and really botchy. And kind of stiff. Sasha wins with a really bad-looking Banks statement. And that was your main event match. That was the last match on the card. Because the show actually ends with a fucking talking segment with Vince, Stephanie, and Shane, where Vince announces that Shane will run SmackDown, and Stephanie will run Raw, and I will run my head into a brick wall, because that just sounds awful. So that was your episode of SmackDown from July 11th, 2016, Detroit, Michigan's Joe Louis Arena. The same arena where Stone Cold Steve Austin got ran over by a fucking car. And what a fitting analogy, because this fucking show was a car wreck. Went in that time. I'm done with this garbage. I will not watch Raw if it is being hosted solely by Stephanie. The Wrestling Rant is officially canceled. I'm done making this show. Nobody watches it anymore anyways, and I don't care to continue making it. The WWE is not interesting enough for me to keep watching. I like Ambrose as champion. I really don't think it's going to last all that long. He may end up losing the fucking title to Rollins next week on Raw, just so Rollins can end up getting pinned by Roman at the fucking pay-per-view, so Roman can have the fucking title back. Next week, for SmackDown, when SmackDown goes live, we're going to have the draft, and it looks like they're going to be bringing back the World Heavyweight title to go on SmackDown, where the WWE title is going to stay on Raw. The US title is probably going to end up on SmackDown. Intercontinental will probably stay on Raw. The tag titles will float. The women's title will float. Not that it matters. The women's division right now sucks. This company sucks. And I'm done wasting my time on it. I've got more important things to deal with in my life. I can't keep wasting my time with this shit. So, thank you to anybody who has been watching the Wrestling Rant. I hate to run out on you again, but I can't keep wasting my time on this shit, and I highly suggest that you don't waste your time on it either. The WWE is not worth your time. They ain't. They continue slapping in the face good talent like AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, and all these other great talents that they stole from the indies, while they continue to promote pieces of garbage like John Cena and fucking Roman Reigns. And I cannot bear to watch Raw if it's being controlled solely by Stephanie. So I'm done. The Wrestling Rant is over again. And I really doubt I'm ever coming back this time. I'm surprised, honestly, that I lasted this long with this comeback. Because I've been fed up with this shit since day one coming back. Fucking hell. Wasn't it my first episode of Raw after coming back was the one that Daniel Bryan retired? Yeah, I think it was. That was a fucking downer. And it was foreshadowing. This whole run of the Wrestling Rant has just sucked. By the way, Daniel Bryan retiring, Bryan himself has come out in interviews saying the WWE flat out forced him to retire. So there's that. They're going to force him to retire, even though he probably could continue wrestling. I don't care anymore. The WWE sucks. I'm not wasting my time on it anymore. I highly suggest you don't either. Just as I said last time, don't buy the pay-per-views, don't buy any of their merchandise, don't buy the video games, don't watch the fucking shows on TV, don't buy the network, don't watch any of that garbage on the network. It sucks. And even NXT alone isn't good enough to warrant buying the network. So this is the end of the Wrestling Rant. Thank you, again, to anybody who did watch all these episodes. Sorry it has to end this way, but I can't keep wasting my life on this shit. Because starting next week, it would be 5 fucking hours a week. 3 for Raw, and another 2 for SmackDown. And I just don't have the time or the patience. I'm not putting myself through that crap. There won't be SmackDown spoilers this week. I don't give a flying fuck what happens on SmackDown. I'm done with this crap. So, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to continue making other videos. Please watch those if you're interested. I'm going to try my best to make my other videos more interesting. Ironically enough, the same day SmackDown goes live, one of my favorite PC MMOs is coming to PS4. I'll be getting that, and I'll probably be streaming that live over YouTube, so check that out if you're interested. The game is called Neverwinter. It's the big Dungeons & Dragons MMORPG. Not D&D Online. It's called Neverwinter. I'm going to be getting that as soon as it comes out, and I will be streaming that. So look forward to that if you're interested. Wrestling Rant's done. Thank you all for watching. This has been the last episode of the Wrestling Rant, and I really don't think I'm ever coming back. Because this draft is just not going to be very good. It's probably going to be shit, just like the last one was. So, I've been your host. Thank you for watching. Once again, I do appreciate all of it. I really do. But I gotta go now. I gotta go do something that's actually interesting. Because this shit ain't. So thank you, and good night. Bye-bye, everybody.